Hello, welcome to Lemon Studios, where we talk movies, television, and wrestling. I'm, of course, the Lemon himself, Zeke Lamone, and this is my review for Crime 101. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way. Share and leave a like. Comment below, let me know your thoughts on Crime 101, and of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I'll greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into it, shall we? So, I was hoping to get this out to y'all on Sunday, which would have been the 15th, but I don't know what happened on Valentine's Day. I don't know if I was lovesick or something, but Sunday, the day after, I just couldn't be asked to do anything. I mean, talk about a waste day. Like, I slept throughout most of it. I had this migraine throughout. I mean, like, I was still able to function and do normal stuff, so I wouldn't necessarily call myself sick. But I really wasn't really able to do much more, let alone, sit in front of the camera, remember a bunch of information. But yeah, I'm feeling better now. So here we are for the review of Crime 101. I was really looking forward to this film. I love Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Halle Berry. It looked very interesting. I'm always down for a good crime action thriller in the theater, and it just really was interesting to me. I thought the trailers were really good, and I will say, to set your expectations before going into it. This movie is one long, and you do feel it. To the point where I do feel like we probably should have cut some things out. There's one thing in particular, but it's also, again, through the trailers, I really thought this was going to be like a big crime action thriller. There was going to be a bunch of giant set pieces, bing, bang, boom, the whole shebang. And that doesn't necessarily make the movie good or bad, but this movie is going at a much slower and methodical pace, and it's more about how the characters are reacting. It's much more of a character piece than I would say an action piece. There are action set pieces in the film, and when they are in it, they're really good. They're really engaging, and you feel the stakes on every single one as well. It's very, very interesting to watch. It's just that that's not the forefront as you would think the trailers are leading you on to expect. Again, that's not a good thing or a bad thing. I actually kind of liked the slow, methodical pace, even though, again, I do think the movie is long. The movie is 2 hours and 20 minutes. And out of all the storylines, because there's a lot of characters that we are jumping around. There's Chris Hemsworth, who's our main character, our bad guy, if you will, because he's the one who's doing all the crimes, but he has a code, he has a whole moral compass about it. Halle Berry, she works for this insurance company that's very much about, getting the cell, getting the money, and making sure that they are covering all of their assets. Then there's Mark Ruffalo, who is the cop. There is Barry Keoghan, who is kind of the loose lunatic throughout, and a bunch of other characters that are spread throughout the film. And on one storyline that focuses on Chris Hemsworth, and he is our lead, but he has a love interest in this film. Now, overall, I liked everything that we did. I thought it brought a real heart to the film. It really gave us a better understanding of Chris Hemsworth's character, to really understand who he is and why, not necessarily why he does what he does, but you can get a better understanding of him, even though you still don't fully, truly know who this person is or where they came from or how they even stumbled upon this line of work. But it really brought this nice little warmness and a human element to the film that overall is just about situations and how these characters are reacting to it. So I do kind of find myself battling within it because, again, I feel like it needed that warmth in the movie, but also at the same time, if you cut out the whole entire love angle in this film when it comes to the main story beats and where everyone else is trying to land on and where everyone else ends on it, you don't really miss anything on it. And again, you make it a much tighter film. I don't know how long the love angle is in it because, again, it's not the main focus of it. But yeah, you take that out, it maybe does go down to 2 hours. And 2 hours is probably the perfect length for this film. But again, I enjoyed everything that we did in it. The woman that they got to play the love interest, I thought she did an excellent job. I always kind of looked forward to those scenes, but again, I can also understand, hey, if you take that out, you make a much tighter film and you don't feel the drag as I did as the movie progressed. There was actually a couple times I was like, man, I wonder how much longer we got on this, and I was like checking my watch while I was in the theater, which is something you don't necessarily want. Barry Keoghan, he does a good job for what is asked of him. Like, everyone else is playing at a certain level within it, a much not necessarily a realism or a calmnism in it, and he's like the wow factor that comes in to really disrupt everything. You know, he's the one that does, he's the bad guy that doesn't have a code. He's doing the crimes. He's not afraid to hurt someone while they're doing it. He's not afraid. He does have somewhat of a moral code, because there is a scene that he does when he's committing a crime and there's a baby involved and the baby's crying. He's like upset that the baby's crying. And while he's doing, like, you know, he's not afraid to beat up anyone else. Like, he's giving everyone else these bloody, he's like doing these pistol whips. He's beating the women. He's doing all these things, but then he's going to the baby going, hey, it's going to be okay. So he had somewhat of a moral compass, but I did feel like out of everyone, he was the one, again, necessarily he was being asked to do this, but he was super over the top, to the point where it did kind of get borderline cartoonish. There was a line delivery that he has where it kind of sounds off a little bit whiny, and I'm not really sure if that was the intent behind it. And again, when it comes to these decisions with actors, the actor can make the decision all they want. It's up to the director to go, cut, print, that was great. Like, if the director thought that was good, then, you know, that's on him, especially to put it within the final product of the film. When it comes to acting decisions, I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad performance, again, with what he was asked, because that was clearly the intent of him. I would have liked to seen that character toned down a little bit. And again, I don't put that on Barry Keoghan. I put that on the direction, because again, he can make those decisions, but it's up to the director to go, yeah, that's good. Oh yeah, I like that. Huh, how'd you get there? Okay, let's try this. And overall, to me, he just took it way over the top. Mark Ruffalo was probably the most interesting character out of all of them. I liked his development as he went on, and that it went completely unnoticed, except for some small factors on it, because when he first starts, he's someone who's like really roughed up. He is, you know, his facial hair is like kind of all over the place. It's thick in some areas, it's thin in the others. His hair is all messed up. He's driving a crappy car. You know, the car is a little bit messy. It has some like weird sounds to it. Just a true mess. You know, it's a guy that's going through a lot. Then as he's going through it, you know, he's just making all these things like, man, I kind of want to do this. I kind of want to do that. Then he starts applying those things into his daily routine. And all of a sudden he gets a little bit cleaner, fresh shaving. And besides one, when it goes like, oh yeah, this looks like a good color on you, it goes completely unnoticed. And I wonder if anyone in the audience also notices it as the movie progresses, because as he's starting to look better, the confidence is starting to build up. And I really did enjoy watching that progression. And as for Mark Ruffalo's character, you know, he's the cop in this, and, you know, depending on where you fall within the law enforcement, that's either if he's a good guy or a bad guy. But when you think of police officer, someone who you want to serve and protect your community, your city, and all that, he is the identity of a good cop. He's trying to catch this guy who's making all of these crimes, and he's doing all these different things. He's putting out all the consistencies within his MO, and his boss is the one telling him, like, look, you need to play the political game. You need to hit the quotas in it. And, you know, that's something us as can really relate to in a lot of ways. Now, as someone who has no police experience, I don't know how true this is. As far as I know, there is a certain quota of tickets that the police department in my area has to hit to every single month. I'm not sure if this is everywhere else around the world. And again, I don't know if it's necessarily true. But, you know, hearing that with the cop going, look, no, you're not going to reopen this case because we already closed it and it helped us with able to get this and get these finances. So no, we're not going to open that. Play the game right or you're going to be let go. While he's like, no, you got it wrong. Here's the right way. Here's the right person that we need to go after. It's a really interesting character to watch throughout, especially because, you know, within today's day and age, it really brought a light to that I truly did appreciate. Chris Hemsworth does a good job. Again, he plays that mysterious person very well. I could also really relate to him because, again, when we get into the love story of it, he's very awkward when it comes to dates. Not to say not anyone is awkward during dating, but, you know, doesn't really talk a whole lot. He's only spoken when he's spoken to. He doesn't do a great job at the follow-up questions of going, hey, so, you know, what are you into? Oh, I'm into doing this. And then, like, you are supposed to go, and what about you? Or are you into this? And, you know, you're trying to keep the conversation engaging. I struggle with that. And so does Chris Hemsworth's character. So seeing that, I was like, man, if only I was this handsome, maybe I would have had a girlfriend by now. I kid, of course. But, like, seeing all of that kind of stuff was really nice to see from him. And again, it really made me relate to him because I could really relate with how his dating structure is. And again, I was really pulling for them, even though, again, at the end of the day, I do think if you could cut anything, that probably would have been it. Halle Berry was also very nice. You know, you're the one that, she's the character that you feel very sensitive to in a lot of ways. Like, you're really pulling for her. Out of everyone, really, you know, Mark Ruffalo is the guy you're like, man, I wish we had more cops like that. Chris Hemsworth, he's the guy that you can relate to, even though he's just criminal things. Halle Berry is the character you cheer for in this film. Like, you want her to really rise up to the occasion. You're seeing all the things that she has to go through in order to get the cells, especially when it comes to men within it, and how the political game is working within the office. You know, she's promised this promotion, but it keeps getting pushed off and everything. And you're just waiting for her to, like, just rise up and do what she has to do in order to get the victory going. And within that, it was a good, like, North Star to cheer for every time we cut to her, like, man, come on, Hailey, come on, Hailey, come on, Hailey. I don't really remember any of the characters' name, which is probably a fault to the film, that no one really stood out to the point where, like, oh, I'm going to make sure I remember this character's name. And yeah, I mean, that's really it. Like, no one really stood out. No character really stood out to the point where I really wanted to remember their name for the film. But overall, again, the performances are good and in their roles. And the story that it tells is pretty good too. I think, now, overall, is this a movie that I can fully recommend you to go see in the theater? You know, with how the theater landscape is now, it's really hard to say. Not a whole lot of people really want to go to the theater unless they are guaranteed big action. If that is you, then no, this movie is not going to be made. I do think for the communal experience with all the twists and turns that the movie goes on, and I think the third act is a really, really good buildup, and it has a very good satisfying finale within it, minus one element within the film. I say if you were interested in seeing this movie in the theater, now if you were expecting big action, then no, don't go. But if you were even semi-curious to go see this movie, I say go ahead. I think you're going to have a whole lot of fun. If this movie didn't really appeal to you in any way, like, you know, you're like, hey, I'm interested, but I'm not really yearning to go to the theater to go see it, then yeah, I would say, yeah, maybe wait for streaming to watch it at home. But overall, I had a good time while watching. I did not regret myself going to see it. Again, the movie goes a little long, could have shaved off a few minutes here and there. But overall, I had a lot of fun with everything that was within the film. And if I had to rank this on a lemon scale, where it goes sour lemon at the bottom, expired store-bought lemonade, bad movie, but hey, there's some good. Store-bought lemonade, good movie, but there's some bad. Lemonade, it's a movie. Freshly squeezed lemonade, very good movie, minor problems. And then strawberry lemonade at the very top, because it's the best kind of lemonade. I would say Crime 101 is a lemonade, and I feel confident keeping it there for sure. Again, I had a lot of fun within it. There are some qualms within it, but, you know, hey, what movie doesn't have its qualms, right? But yeah, comment below, let me know your thoughts on Crime 101 if you've had a chance to go see it. Leave a like in this video. If you made it this far in the review, I do greatly appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. And don't forget to squeeze the days, guys, because life is too short not to give you all. So squeeze every opportunity that you can. Until next time, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.